Hi everybody, this is Ali with Ali So Crafty. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I am going to share with you two different techniques that I use to waterproof my fabric. There are several ways that you can waterproof your fabric. But in this video, I'm going to share two different techniques with you. I'm going to show you how to apply these products to your fabric. Then I'm going to give you the pros and cons of each one of this so you can make your own choice when you decide to waterproof your fabric. I'm going to be using 100 Pelon Vinyl Fuse Glossy, and that's one technique. And the other technique is using Odicoat gel coating. Okay, and here it is. Okay, so now it's ready for us to apply the fusible vinyl. One thing that you need to do that I didn't do here was I cut the fusible vinyl bigger than the fabric, but in reality it needs to be a little bit smaller, and this is the test. So I'm testing this before I do it on my final product. So I'm just going to cut it a little bit smaller than the actual piece of fabric because I don't want to fuse the vinyl on my iron board. Right? And like I said, this is something you need to test before you start cutting, before you start working on your project. So you see, this is smaller. So now we're going to apply the vinyl to the fabric. Now, the instructions say to, of course, peel this, and then you use this backing that you have and put it on top of it, and then that's how you iron it. I am gonna try using a freezer paper instead. So I just got this freezer paper. I use this freezer paper for a lot of things around the house, in arts and craft as well. And you see it has a plastic coating. Well, you put that coating facing the vinyl, and the matte part facing you, and that's where you're gonna iron it. So we're just gonna test that right now. That's what I'm gonna do. And I already have a little piece here from another project that I can just place on top of that, and it will give me more room to iron the vinyl to the fabric. So if I follow the instructions from the vinyl fuse, it says to preheat the dry iron to medium heat setting. So I'm working on that right now. And then we're going to peel the vinyl fuse gloss from this paper, okay? And we're gonna place the sticky side down onto the fabric, and we're gonna smooth it out with our hands. So we're taking, this could be a little bit tricky, sorry, okay. I'm sorry, okay, now I got it. So the sticky side is what's going to go under, touching the fabric, and make sure it's the right side of your fabric. So we're just gonna place it on the fabric like that, and carefully with our fingers in the hand, a little bit at a time, make sure there's no bubbles or anything like that. We're going to stick it to the fabric. Okay, perfect. So the instruction says to place the shiny side of the release paper. So this is the paper that was with the vinyl. The shiny side, which is this side actually, facing down, and then we're gonna iron it. But what I'm going to do, I'm gonna try the freezer paper. I'm gonna try using the freezer paper. So again, this is the shiny side of the freezer paper and this is the matte side. And I'm just gonna use that instead. So let's go to the ironing board and let's do that. Okay, so here we are. I'm taking the freezer paper, shining side down. Here's my fabric, and here is the fusible vinyl. And I'm going to take my iron, and I'm just gonna press it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Lift, move. Now we're gonna flip it. And we're gonna do the same process, but only for 4 seconds. And now the moment of truth. Lift the fabric. Kind of let it cool down a little bit. So here it is, you guys. As you can see, it's very shiny, very glossy. Just make sure that when you do yours, that nothing is in between the fabric and the vinyl fuse. Because as you can see here, I left a little thread and now it's stuck in between the 2 pieces of fabric. Another way to make your fabric waterproof and stain resistant is by using this product called Odicoat. It's a gel coating, as you can see, and the fabric will have like that oilcloth effect. You need to apply 2 coats of this gel onto your fabric in order to have that oilcloth look and for it to be waterproof and stain resistant. This piece of fabric has 2 coats already, and as you can see, it's kind of shiny. It feels a little rough to the touch, but it's shiny and it's complete. It's waterproof and stain resistant right now. Here's another piece of fabric that only has 1 coat. You can barely tell that it has 1 coat of the gel. This is not ready to be used for, waterproofing or stain resistant material. This is not ready. We need to apply another coat of the gel onto this fabric, and then it will be ready to use. You want to apply this gel coating onto a surface that you don't mind if it gets stained or if it gets, damaged or anything like that. That's why I have like a cardboard paper or anything, something like that. However, after you apply the gel coating, make sure that you remove this piece of fabric from that cardboard. If you leave it on the cardboard, it will get stuck to the paper. It almost glues it together. So you don't want to do that. So right now we're going to apply the second coating. For that, you will need to use a foam brush. Just a regular foam brush. I bought it at the dollar store. If you see the gel, it's like opaque color. It does not smell. There is no odor whatsoever. And that's one thing I really like about this product. It doesn't have a strong odor. It's just simply a gel. And you apply it to the fabric and you let it cure. It needs to cure for 24 hours. So what you do is that you simply start applying this gel to the fabric like that. Okay, and clean the rest. That's it. It kind of looks, it's liquid now. It turns into like a liquid. If you have any excess gel, you can just continue to brush it until you take all the excess off. You want to make sure it's as smooth as possible, because once it dries, you will be able to see any bumps or any creases, anything that you left on the fabric, you'll be able to see it. So here it is. You see how shiny it is, and it looks wet, right? Now you have to wait 24 hours for this to cure before you can use it, before you can make anything with this fabric. You can rinse this off with just water, and that's it. That's what I like also about this product. It doesn't smell, and you can just rinse off with water. If it gets in your hands, just rinse your hands with water, and that's all. Now, if you have like sensitive skin, definitely use some gloves. So here are my pros and cons for each one of these products. When you're using the Odicoat, this product obviously can be applied after you have made your bag or cube or whatever it is that you're making. You can apply it before too when you are cutting the fabric, but you can also apply it after. Now make sure if you apply it after that you cover all the creases and the seams and anything. And you may want to use this after if you have a bag that you really like and say you want to protect the bottom of the bag, or you have a pouch that you really like and it's a small pouch and you have a section of the pouch that you want to protect. Another good thing about this product is that there is no smell. You really don't need to be in a ventilated room. I'm in my studio with the windows are closed and I used it, no problem. Easy to clean, just with water it will rinse off. It is very easy to apply. All you need is a little foam brush. Really easy to apply. And the fabric, you see it leaves like an oilcloth look to it. You see how shiny it is, but it doesn't lose. Doesn't make the fabric heavy. The fabric's still flexible. The fabric, you can still interface it on the other side if you want to. So really, it doesn't really change the structure of the fabric. It's still the same weight and the same flexibility. I will probably interface it before I apply the Odicoat because I don't recommend you ironing on top of the Odicoat or anywhere near, because this is like a plastic coating, okay? Now, the disadvantage of it is how long it takes to cure. You have to apply one coating, wait 24 hours, apply the second coat, wait another 24 hours, and then you can use the fabric. That's 2 whole days. So you really need to plan in advance your projects. If you are going to, use this before you make the project, and even if you decide to apply it after the project is made, you're not going to be able to use it for at least 2 days. So take that into consideration. And of course, as always, test it on a little scrap of fabric before you apply it to your entire fabric or the entire piece. I made the mistake one time. I had a batik fabric and I applied some of the Odicoat on top of it, and it removed the design. Like the design I could not see the design anymore. It was a black and gray fabric, so the gray part like disappeared. So just make sure you test before you go ahead and damage your fabric or your bag or your product. Okay, now for the Pilon 100 Vinyl Fuse Glossy, the pros for this product is that it's so easy to apply. As you sew it, all you need is your iron, heat press, and in a few minutes you have your fabric is waterproof and stain resistant. It leaves the fabric in the same weight and flexibility. If you want to interface it on this side, you can, on the wrong side, because you apply the the vinyl on the exterior. So you have the interior of the fabric that you can also interface. But yeah, it kind of leaves the fabric with a little bit of body, but not so much that it will defeat the purpose of your project. It's so easy to cut after you've applied the vinyl. You can just take your rotary cutter, you can take your scissors, and you can just cut the pattern right through it, and it's not going to peel off. Now, I recommend that you use the vinyl fuse for larger pieces. And of course, it's way faster because if you do a big piece of fabric, you know, like a 1/4 yard or something, and you can just fuse the entire piece of fabric and then cut your pattern, that makes it way easier and way faster. Now, the cons of this material is, and it's not so much a con, but something that you have to take into consideration, is that it will be sticky. It will be very sticky. So when you're sewing, it's like sewing with vinyl. You will need a Teflon foot or a walking foot. But there are other tricks that you can do. If you have a regular foot, you can put like a piece of tape underneath it and it will make it slide. The most important is that the foot slides through the material and it doesn't get stuck. Another thing is this needs to be applied before you make the bag. You really don't want to apply this after the bag it's already made. So if you have a bag, a book bag or something that you purchased or that you made and now you want to make it waterproof, this is not the technique to do it. And as always, check with a little scrap of fabric, and don't cut just a little bit. Cut a piece big enough. That way you need to make sure, because this is 100% cotton, but if there's some polyester in your fabric, if your fabric doesn't take heat very well, you need to test before you go ahead and apply a big piece to your entire piece of fabric and damage it. I hope this really helped you guys. Let me know which one of these two techniques is your favorite and how you are going to use them. And I'm so glad you watched this video with me today, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao.